Okay, this is Crompton House School Bronze Duke of Edinburgh's Award Expedition Route 2, Day 1. You're starting your route here from Littleborough, actually starting from the red dot there, which is Holy Trinity Church in the centre of Littleborough. Just a quick disclaimer here that the blue line might not correspond exactly with the route map, so I'm going to point out we're using the arrow where possible, the way that you should go, but you should be going out underneath the railway viaducts here and then round to the left, before then turning to the right and following this road here, which then the road becomes unpassable for cars and becomes a pathway that runs through this valley. There's a water body there on the left hand side, a pond or a small lake. Like I said, valley one side, left hand side you've got woodland, on the right hand side we've got the flat topped hill here. Now as you go down through the valley, it's the pathway bends round to the right, but there is another pathway then that goes off up this valley. The bearing is approximately, well, it's between 45 and 90 degrees. It's going to be somewhere in the region of about 70 to 80 degrees, I would have thought. I've not checked that with a compass, but you follow that bearing until you get up to here, which is where your first checkpoint will be. It's a bit of a road, wide-ish road there, can fit 2 cars up and down, and around this point here there's a sign where I leave the checkpoint marker. There's also the electricity transmission line, which you might just about be able to make out. There's the pylon for it there. You're then going to take this pathway here, which more or less goes due south for a couple of kilometres. So what I'll do is just briefly fly through, following this path. Here you can make out the path certainly on the map, until we get here. To the M62. At this point I'm going to go a bit more. Okay. So the path comes round here and we take this road bridge over the M62, obviously not going across the carriageway itself, before coming back down here. Left hand side, underneath the electricity transmission lines again, there's another pylon. And then making our way up through the paths until you come to, and it would be following this path here, not the way that that's going there, until you come here to Tunsil Path, or Tunsil Lane, major sort of junction there. The electricity transmission line is here, so that would be to your left, or to your east. So you come up to Tunsil Lane here, and you're then walking away from the electricity transmission line along this pathway, which you can't go off very easily. It's quite easy to carry on, but just a couple of pointers here. At this point here there is a gate and a stile, and that there is a disused mine shaft which is fenced off, and it may well also be signposted. Obviously we don't go anywhere near that. Then we come down here, and if you're not concentrating at this point, you're just going to carry on and you'll keep on walking and you'll end up back at the motorway. Obviously you've gone wrong if you end up there. That should act as a bit of a warning sign for you, that mine shaft, that as you come down here you're going to be taking a turn which is going to be pretty much due south following this path. Another one of those disused mine shaft or air vents there. So we'll just let it pan around a little bit, because you're going to follow that then due south until you come out at Rough Bank, which is this complex of farms here. And this is where again the map tends to go a little bit awry, but you're going to be going around and coming down to this factory. Okay, you'd actually come up the road here and then along here until you get to the point where there's a church and a cemetery here. Now if you were to carry on along this road, you'd end up at Ogden Reservoir and Ogden Reservoir car park, and if of course you need to use the lavatory at this point, there is a toilet there. quite okay to use that as long as you go back and you pick up your route, because now you're going to do a loop around Ogden Reservoir, around this area here, following this pathway. Again, it's relatively straightforward to follow. You're just following the road. You're following the pathway up. This can be a little bit tricky around here. As soon as you get up and onto this path, not doing too bad. You're going to end up meeting up here at the road, and then you'll come around. Before you get to Cherry Tree Farm here, you're going to go back along and then join up with this path through these farm buildings, which you may well have walked on. Some of the group may well have walked on this when you did the Ogden Walk. Certainly if you were with my group on the Ogden Walk, you'll have walked through this bit. You'll get to this point here, which is Ruden Reservoir, and now you're going to be descending, going back downhill from Ruden. I'll just zoom out a little bit so we get a bit more perspective. Come down here, there's Ruden. Come down from Ruden. This is Python Reservoir down here. You're going to come aiming, not at that, but you're kind of, the way that you walk down is aiming at that corner of the reservoir and aiming at that, at the dam wall, before you get to a point where you come across here. Don't know why that little squiggle's in there. And back round. This is a bit of a valley here. There's the dam wall. That's quite a steep, obviously, incline there. Come up here until you get onto this path here, which comes up then to this, which is the Ram's Head pub and restaurant, which is your third checkpoint. From that checkpoint there, we're going to walk along this road, and you need to be very careful crossing over this road. There's a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit, but cars do travel at some crazy speeds along there, so you're going to walk up here, go past this little building here. I think it's something to do with the Water Authority, Water Board, using old speak. And you turn then following, again, quite a well vivid path along here to the corner of this small reservoir, which is Redicondine Reservoir, along the dam wall. Follow the path around, follow it around, and then you'll see again quite a well worn path. You can't see, obviously, it's the same type of path here. It's well cut in. Come to this path, which brings you back around. Follow the path around here until you come in around the back of this, which is Dowry Reservoir. Walk up down the road, again being very careful, staying as far away from the road as possible. In this area here, that's New Year's Bridge Reservoir. My suggestion when you get to this point here, the end of the dam wall, that sharp turn where there's a gate, is you take a bearing and then follow that bearing, which is going to bring you across this open land. It's quite bleak, there's not an awful lot around here maybe to see, so you do have to be careful with your bearings. But you're then going to come up here, up to the peak. This is the peak. There's a path that runs, a track that runs here. It's actually the junction of five tracks up here. Excuse me. And from that you're going to get onto this path here, which is called Lowgate Lane. It's not signposted, but it is on the map as Lowgate Lane. You're going to come down. It's a descent down here until you get to this point where you would turn left. Walk along here to the corner of Castleshaw Upper Reservoir, along the dam wall of Castleshaw Upper Reservoir, past this area here, which is where the actual Roman fort used to be, and at this point now you're just going to be following the road as it brings you in to your overnight accommodation and the salubrious surroundings of the Castleshaw Centre.